Good morning traders, welcome to another RMD weekly market overview. This week, along with our standard market lineup, I'll be concluding with a special comprehensive analysis on Bitcoin. Well, I'm going to let the disclaimer roll and I'll see you in the charts. Welcome back, and we are starting with the US dollar to the South African Rand, and our outlook remains mostly unchanged from our market overview last weekend. And what has mostly changed is the fact that we have now broken the area that used to be our area of support at 16 Rand 90, and that would be the area where my cursor is now showing. We can see these candles from last week found some support, and just looking at those shadows and the rejection. However, we can see that by Friday that area was then broken, and we can now see by the tops of these candlestick shadows, or these longer top shadows, that this area is now being rejected, and that now becomes an area of resistance. And should price action stay below this level, our 16 Rand 90 level, we will likely target the area in between our weekly R2 pivot at 16 Rand 43 towards this weekly S1 pivot area at 1690, and also looking at our monthly pivot levels. We can quickly go to the daily time frame and then enable our monthly pivots. We'll see that our monthly S1 pivot level is also at this 16 Rand 58, 16 Rand 55 level. So that would be the target that will be in place as should price continue to move lower, or should the Rand continue to strengthen. Just moving back towards our 4-hour time frame, should we manage to break back above our 16 Rand 90 area, it's likely that we will see the monthly pivot level that's at 17 Rand 10 being retested, and if we can close above that and remain above that, then the next levels of resistance would be at 17 Rand 58, and I'll have to re-enable those projected support areas for our pivot levels. So that would be 17 Rand 58 being monthly S2 level of resistance, and even enabling the resistance level 3 as well. You'll see that that's sitting at about 17 Rand 50 to 17 Rand 53. So those would be the areas of resistance should price manage to get back above the 17 Rand 90 area and above our monthly pivot level. Moving on to the Euro USD, we see that we had a very clear bullish break of this channel on Monday, and we had price come back twice to retest this breakout area, which also coincides with the 20 SMA on the daily. So we had price come back on Tuesday, even had the low on Wednesday come in for retest, and of course on Friday we saw the low also retest that level again. And just considering that we are currently above all our bullish averages, and the trend remaining bullish, we can expect price to likely move higher. And looking at areas of resistance, the first area of resistance would be our current monthly R1, and that would be at 1.140, and of course there's some additional resistance at 1.1475. that is previous high, as we can see, that we made on the 9th of March. So those would be the areas of resistance, and of course the initial and first area of support would now be our monthly pivot level at 1.125, and just dropping down to the 4-hour time frame, and also looking at our projected weekly pivot levels. We can see that we are currently we closed on Friday right on the weekly pivot level, so that would be our area of price action to watch, with the 4-hour 200 moving average on our R1 weekly pivot level at 1.1235. So that would be the initial additional support level, And of course, should we manage to break even below that, the area that we will be targeting is of course that monthly R1 pivot level at 1.10, and that is also very close to our weekly S3 pivot level. So those would be the areas of support and resistance to keep an eye out for. And then just quickly moving to our economic calendar for the week and looking at what events might have impact on our US dollar as well as the euro. We can see very little high impact news events. On Monday, 4 o'clock afternoon, there's some non-manufacturing PMI figures coming out, and then on Thursday we have unemployment claims at 2:30, and then on Friday we have some core PPI figures coming out. So those would be the economic indicators to watch and keep an eye out for, and those might be the catalysts to move our price further. Looking at the GBPUSD, price has now made a very clear move to the bullish side after we had this break of the bearish channel on the week before last week, and price has even reached our first target as set on 1.260 and came just shy of our target at 1.270 over there. So we have not yet reached that target. However, considering that is indeed our weekly R1 level, that is now still an area that is in play, and that will also coincide with the monthly R1 pivot level. If we enable that, you can see that area also coincides with that monthly R1 pivot level. And of course our weekly pivot level sitting just below us now at 1.258, and that means that will now act as the new area of support. And should we see a break below that, the level to target would be at 1.249. That would be the first area of support on our weekly pivot levels, and that will also be the area right in between our 200 and 100 SMAs on the 4 hour, meaning that will offer some additional confidence and be a very strong area of support. And of course, should price for whichever reason manage to break below that area, there will be additional secondary support at 1.235. that is our weekly S2 pivot level area support, and will also coincide with that initial breakout area from 2 weeks ago. And now looking at the Australian dollar to the USD, the price is still consolidating and haven't quite broken out of consolidation yet, although we can clearly see that there is a bullish trend that is still being upheld. We can even see this area of support or initial support at 0.694, which was a very clear area of resistance, has to some extent now even become an area of support. And just looking at our weekly pivots, we can see that we are slightly below our weekly pivot level, and that would mean that any price action above this pivot level would target resistance at about 0.703. That would be our S2 weekly pivot, and also the area of support. The area of resistance of our previous highs. And then of course, should we see bearish price action below our weekly pivot, or if price do not really manage to break above this weekly pivot level, we can expect support to be at 0.688, and that would coincide in with our 200 moving average. We can see it's pointing upwards, and it's actually indicating a very bullish trend at this stage. And also worth noting would be that our S1 pivot level of the week is also coinciding with that 100 SMA on the 4 hour, so very strong area of support. Looking at the S&P 500, price action remains bullish, with price coming to within 6 points of the target that we set on our market overview last week at 3,200, seeing that high going way up or right up to 3,194. So just 6 points shy of our target, and with price remaining bullish and price action remaining bullish, I can see price moving towards our targets at the yearly pivot level at 3,215. That is the yearly R1 pivot level. And even looking at our monthly pivot levels, we can see that the monthly pivot level of 3,245 now is definitely in play, with this bullish trend remaining intact. And of course, just looking at potential areas of support. So our support would now be at 3,136. That is the S1 support area. There is our weekly pivot level at 3,165. And our first area of support is this S2 pivot level for the week. And that also coincides with the previous area of resistance. If you look at the previous candles rejecting this level, and currently this area now acting as support, with these lower shadows on these candles showing clear rejection from this level. So that would be our area of support. And then of course there would be additional dynamic support on our 4-hour 100 and 200 SMA. So you can see there's this red line and blue line, 100 and 200 SMAs being and acting as a dynamic support level, and that would be around this 3,110 level currently. Moving on to our Brent crude oil, the bullish trend remains, but weak hands is being tested, and we even briefly saw price close below our 4-hour 100 SMA, which is our primary trend indicator at this stage. However, that is probably just to shake out some of the weak hands that has been holding Brent crude long, targeting that gap level at $45. So for those who have not yet looked at our previous weekly market overviews, we had this gap on the weekend of the 6th of March, and then on Monday we closed quite lower down, and we opened up this gap, and a lot of traders definitely looking to trade price higher towards this gap area. But just let's moving back to our 4-hour time frame, we can see that price is really struggling to get above this $43.50 area, and of course the patience of a lot of traders being tested, and especially if there were some weak hands that might have panicked and closed positions with this false break lower. But yeah, just it's just worth taking additional care that the 43.50 is the area to watch, and of course should we see a break above that, that would be a bullish sign, and that could allow price to move higher to close our gap. But just take care that of course if price do close above this $43.50 area and immediately be rejected and close up below 42.75, where our weekly pivot level is, that would be bearish, and could possibly target our support area at 41.50 over there, and that is a monthly support area. So then I'm just going to go back to our daily time frame to make that more clear. Of course, so there's our monthly pivot level at 41.50. So should price move back lower, that would be the area to keep an eye out for. Looking now at gold still very bullish, with a very bullish doji candle on Monday, showing us that buyers are really stepping in at this level. Gold also reaching our target as set in our market overview video last week at 1,800, even going slightly above that, and even seeing the highs reach 1,820 points. Just going lower down to the 4-hour time frame, we can see that the area of support is now, and I'm just going to enable our projected weekly pivots, we can see that we are right above our projected weekly pivot at 1790, and that's also right above this additional area of support, which is the top of our channel, bullish channel. So this is the area to watch and keep an eye out for price action, as any bullish price action off of this level will see price move higher towards 1820, where our monthly R1 pivot level is at, and also slightly above that our weekly R1 pivot level. And of course, should we reach those levels, we can even see price move higher. Of course, if we should for any reason see price reject this 1790 to 1800 level, our support would be firstly, I think, this 100 SMA on the 4 hour acting as dynamic support, and then we have our additional support at 1763 being our weekly S1 pivot level. And if that were to not be enough, of course we have and I'm just going to move back to our daily time frame and show you that our monthly pivot level is sitting on 1745. So that would be another strong area of support, and that's also just looking back over the last couple of months, that has been a very large important area of resistance, which is now of course an area of support. And we once again conclude this week's market overview with Bitcoin USD. And this week I actually want to take a bit of a different approach on the Bitcoin analysis. What I just want to show everybody is that looking at this larger channel that we can see that has been formed from the high that we had on the 24th of June, that was the high that reached up to 14,000, and even going further back to the all-time high that we have made in December of 2017, that was the high that saw Bitcoin's price almost touch 20,000. And just looking at this chart, we had the high of 19,600. We can see that if we follow this trend line through, we are again very close to the top of it. And just looking at potential high-level areas of support and resistance, that will obviously be a very important and major area of overhead resistance, and the only way for Bitcoin to really see new highs, and that being highs above 10,000 again and above, would be to break above this level. Currently we are still a little ways away from that level. However, what I do want to show everybody is just going back to let's see, on daily time frame. If you look on the daily time frame and we look at our candles, we can see that this, so we're looking at the 9,300 level. So what's visible here is that how this used to be, especially going back to end of May, this used to be a level of support, and in other words, price did not manage to break below it, and every time price did manage to dip below that level, price was rejected, and we saw the price move back up above the level. And then we saw a change that was in the end of June, or end of last month. We saw the price break through this level, and then that level turned into overhead resistance. And now we can see how price is actually struggling to break through this level. And also we can see there's now a new bearish trend that has been forming, with this blue trend line that's being indicated over here, and we can see that we are below this trend line, and obviously we'll need to get back above not only the 9,300 level but above this trend line to see any new highs. And for this reason, my analysis will mainly focus on the daily time frame, because we will need to not only hold this 9,100 level, which is the current support level, but we'll also need to stay below the 9,300 level for the bearish outlook to remain, or break above the 9,300 level for the bullish outlook to take effect. So just enabling the monthly pivots, we can see that our monthly pivot is sitting at 9,475. So ideally we'd like to see a daily candle close above that level in order for us to take that new bullish look to see price moving higher back towards that major overhead level of resistance that would be towards the 10,000 level. And of course, should we see that level being rejected further, because currently looking at the daily time frame, you can clearly see how this monthly pivot level is being rejected. And it's very important, of course, at this stage that we stay above the 9,100 level in order for Bitcoin to have any bullish chances at this stage. And just going down to the 4-hour time frame, and excuse me for this video being so long this week, but I think it's a good idea to more holistically have an understanding of what is happening in Bitcoin with this current consolidation. So here actually you have a clear picture of what is happening with this 9,300 level that I mentioned. You can see the lower shadows was initially being rejected from this level, and then we saw this break on the 24th June, and then we can see how our price struggled to get above it, only briefly getting back into that area and then being rejected again currently. So very important levels to look out for, 9,300, as anything above that could be bullish, and then of course a very crucial level, the 9,100 level, as anything below that would be bearish and could very easily take us back to support at around 8,500 level.
As always, I hope you enjoyed this week's video, and if you did, please subscribe and also click the notification button to be reminded as soon as we make a new video live. And then, just before I say goodbye, I just want to say thank you to every one of our now over 200 subscribers. You guys are truly amazing. Thank you very much for your support. We are very excited to see our subscriber base grow to 500 and can only do so with your help. So please tell your friends and fellow traders about our channel and also about our exciting masterclass series that will be available completely free of charge to all RMD trading clients. This is John Jacobs for RMD Trader, and remember, trade smart and trade successful.